Hi, and welcome to our YouTube channel. We're glad that you have given us a few minutes today, and if you would do us a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. That's important to us and kind of helps us know that we're kind of talking about things that you want us to talk about. If you have been around me very long, you will know that I have no hobbies. Church is what I do. I love church. I love being part of the church. It's all I read about. It's all I think about. And so I'm always talking to other people, figuring out what's going on in their life, how we can adapt that, how what they're going through would impact the church. And because of that, I've got three things I want to talk to you as a church leader about. That there are three things that the church has to do right now in order to be ready for the coming tsunami of change. Now, one of the things that we're learning during this time of coronavirus is that this future church, this change curve is happening much faster than we thought it would. After we go back to normal, there are going to be some things that never ever recover. And we're not quite sure what those things are, but here are some direct implications. One, you need to get your church out of debt as soon as you possibly can. A couple of reasons for that. One, as the generations pass on, the builders and the boomers are passing off the scene, the boomers are moving into retirement. The millennials give, and they're very generous in the way that they give, but they give very differently. They're not going to give to a big box. They're not going to give to a big church building program. They're not going to give to a pot where you divvy it up and send to a lot of other things. They're going to have to see life change for every dollar that they invest. And so they give you a dollar, then you have to be able to say, this is how lives were impacted by what you gave. Paying off church debt is going to be the last thing that the new generation will want to do. They're not going to support it. So it's going to become the tail that wags the dog. So I would encourage you as much as possible to put your focus on getting out of debt as soon as possible, regardless of how things change in the future, regardless of what comes back and what doesn't, what new opportunities we see. Being out of debt will give you the freedom to respond however God opens up the door. Second, you need to begin to focus your ministry on training other leaders. We are going to a time where people are going to be meeting in smaller groups. They're going to be in churches that come together, then they're going to go to house churches, they're going to go to groups. You're going to need to have anywhere from 10 to 20 times the number of leaders that you have right now. And as a pastor, your job now is to train those people who will pastor your congregation in groups of 10s and 20s. Remember Jethro's comment to Moses. What you're doing isn't good, Jethro said, but divide the people up to groups of 10s, 50s, 100s, and let people shepherd them. That way only the biggest problems come to you. The same thing now holds true in our churches. Break your church down into groups of 100s, 50s, 10s, 5s. Train people to be leaders of each of those groups. That way the gospel will be shared. You'll be as close to your people as you possibly can be, but you're always going to have more leaders than we have in the past. We're not going to be able to come to one place where one guy leads. It's going to be a lot of different places with a lot of different leaders. So train those leaders. Third, up your digital game. Now, I know I'm old, and I've sat in those groups where I've talked about how stupid Facebook is, how dumb Twitter is, yada, 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 yada. Guess what? They're not going away. Now, what I mean by upping your digital game, I mean, yeah, get used to being on Facebook. Why? It's where your people are. Get used to being on Twitter. Why? It's where your people are. Get used to Instagram or all the other social platforms out there. Now, I mean more than grabbing your iPhone and shooting a video. That works, and it's kind of nice for that random, spontaneous moment when something crazy's happened and you want to respond to it. But you're going to have to invest in some equipment. Now, the good news is you can get a lot of really nice equipment for not a whole lot of money. And then practice. What I mean by practice, I mean set your situation up, camera, microphone, in front of your laptop, in front of your desktop, and practice doing it. Talking to a camera is very different than talking to people. But that's where your people are. They're online, they're on Facebook, they're on these social platforms. And you will get more done in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes than you would get done in a month full of sermons. Okay? 1, get out of debt as fast as you possibly can. 2, focus all of your time on training leaders and as many leaders as you possibly can train. 3, up your digital game. It's where the future is. In fact, it's already there. And we now have the technology for you to be part of it. You can preach to more people in 8 minutes on a social platform than you will preach to in a year in your local church. That's where the future is, and I want to be sure you get there. I'm Mike Glenn. This is my YouTube channel, and you've honored me by being here. So hit subscribe and like on your way out. I'll see you next time.